this is Mr. Hornsby 83. This is the Mr. Hornsby 83 show, and today I'm finally going to get the review of It Chapter 1. And I want to do this review because the new It movie comes out. Well, technically it came out at midnight last night, but it comes out today, and I am recording this pretty much today because I watched the game last night and I was tired afterwards, so I did not watch. So I did not do the review last night. I also did not do the review of the Pennywise figure I said I was going to do. I was just tired all this whole week. I've been so busy the past few days prior to that, so I'm going to give you the review of It Chapter 1 here. Now let's start out with this first scene, because as you can see, this is the part where Pennywise kills Georgie, rips his arm off and all that. But one thing I will say, a couple years ago I reviewed the original TV series It movie, which was part 1 and part 2 of that, and I liked the movie. And when this movie originally came out, I did not think it would be as good as the original 1990 It movie, because I felt like it was going to suck. But when I went and seen it with my wife and kids, it was actually good. So, and it was, I'll say this, look, at the time when the original one came out, it was a scary movie. But this one's a tad more scarier than what the original It movie was. The original It movie, yeah, it was scary at the time, but not as scary as this one was. And one of my favorite scenes of this, because it was one of the scariest, most intense scenes, which I'll get to here shortly, is the part where Pennywise is coming out of that projectile and he's chasing the kids in the garage, and that creeped a lot of people out. But then you get scenes, which I'll get to here in a minute, but let me talk about this first scene before I move on with this review. So, one thing I will say I liked about how this one started, it gave us that shock and awe factor, because in the TV special, you've seen the flashback where Georgie was killed by Pennywise, but you did not see Pennywise eat Georgie, which on this one you see it because, you know, Bill sends Georgie out in the rain to play with the boat. He's claiming he's got like mucus falling out of his nose or whatever, and vomiting up a bunch of stuff. And so Georgie sends, so Bill sends Georgie out. Georgie gets, meets Pennywise when the boat goes down in the drain. And when Pennywise is talking to Georgie and Georgie's talking to him, and he's like, "You want your boat back?" And he's talking about how Bill would be upset, and he's like, "Yeah." And he takes it. Pennywise grabs his arm, bites into his arm, and bites his arm off. And then we see when Georgie falls down and laying in his own blood, Pennywise's arm pulls him all the rest of the way under. So you knew Georgie was dead. And really what I'm going to pretty much do with this one, I'm not going to give it a score rating, because it'll probably get the same score as the original one, which I believe I gave a 5 out of 5. But, what I'm going to do is talk about things I liked about this one that I thought they did better than with the TV special. And, seeing that first scene where he eats Georgie's arm, that was very scary. Like, oh my God, they actually went through with it. And you see this kid's arm get bit off, and then you see him pull the kid the rest of the way into that drain. So you knew Georgie wasn't surviving. Well, if you watch the original one, you knew he wasn't, or if you read the book, you knew Georgie didn't survive anyway. So let's move on to some other situations. We get our introduction of the first 4 members of the Losers Club, or the Lucky 7, or whatever they called themselves. And then you see Ben He's new at the school. He's introduced, and then Bill and them finally befriend him. But Bill, Richie, Stan, and Eddie are all looking for that other girl that came up missing like Georgie did. Because Bill can't handle the fact that Georgie was dead. But, you know, then we get introduced to Beverly. Like, first thing we see is that girl just being that female bully, just bullying Bev, saying she's a whore and all that stuff, and calling her slut. Then she called her something else. She's like, well, which is it? Am I a whore, or am I trash, or blah blah blah. And man, it was wild. So let's get into some other things I liked about this. First of all, the bully, Henry. Henry is scarier as a bully in this movie than he was the original It movie, because the original It movie, you didn't see him go almost as far as freaking the original one did. You didn't even see him kill his own dad in the original movie the way you see him kill his dad in this one. Also, I like the whole thing with the Losers Club and how things were going with them. And, you know, also, you know, you kind of, you know, when Henry's dad, you see the part where Henry's dad's treating him like trash, you see why he became a bully and became a piece of trash. And you kind of felt sorry for him, because it's like, oh my God, you know, you freaking, you just totally treated your son like trash, caused him to be a bully and bully everyone else. Now Henry, I mean, it did show that Henry did have somewhat of a heart, because he was talking about how he, you know, talking about how he gave Bill a pass because of Georgie being missing and all that. But still, he was an evil person who was going to try to kill Ben. He eventually kills his dad, almost freaking killed some of the Loser Club members. And his other buddy was like the same, the one that looks like the dude that played Roderick from the freaking Diary of the Wimpy Kid movies. I will say the whole child cast of this movie was pretty good. They were all better than, well, aside from Jonathan Brandis on the kids' side of the original movie, they were, you know, they were a cast, they were better. But this kid that played Bill in this one, he kind of played it as well as Jonathan Brandis did. Now look, I know some people might think Jonathan Brandis isn't the greatest child actor ever, but, you know, he did pretty well in it, I thought, you know. And from the look of it, the adult cast is way better than the adult cast from the original TV movie, so. You know, so I like what they did with the kids with this one, how, you know, and they're all, you know, indulged, especially the part where Beverly comes to swim with them, and she like gets in her bra and panties, and all the boys are like turned on by it, which was typical teenage boys, which you expect them to do. Like, be like, oh, she's one of ours, she's a buddy of ours, we're not gonna do, you know, this and that. But, you know, mainly though, they built up the, I feel like too, they also kind of built up the love story with, you know, with Billy and Beverly better in this movie than they did the original, because, yeah, you felt like there was something there with Beverly and Billy, but that wasn't the case. She just thought he was behind that poem. They really built up Beverly and Ben's love story in the original movie. This one they're building up, so it's going to be kind of weird, yeah, that, you know, when she sees Pennywise's dead eyes and Pennywise has her entranced, and they're trying to get her out of her, and Ben pulls her down and kisses her, and that revives her. So I feel like the original movie built up the Beverly-Ben relationship more. This one built up Billy and Beverly. But here's the thing. We all know it's probably going to end up, she's going to end up still being with Ben at the end, which I think really messed up the thing with this. Now, something else I want to talk about is setting up scary moments. I feel like the original It movie did it a little bit better than what this one did, because they had so much, loud noises and that going on right before the jump scare, like the part where Mike's like getting harassed by Henry and his friends, and then they drive up and he's like, oh, and jumps and all that, so. And one of the creepy scenes is that part where he's like, talking about where Pennywise is trying to lower Mike in, and they kind of, like I said, they kind of screwed up that part, but the original movie did it better. But with this movie, I feel like, overall it was still the scarier movie out of the two. Only problem I had, it was supposed to be a serious, intense scene. It's right after Pennywise captures Beverly after the Losers Club go through their little argument and they break up and blah blah blah. But then his stage pops up and it's like he's sitting there talking, he's like, I'm Pennywise the Clown, and then the stage comes out and he starts dancing. That was supposed to be an intense moment with the facials that, Skarsgård was doing as Pennywise and that, and with the way they were building up, it was supposed to be a scary, intense moment. To me, I almost started cracking up laughing at that part. I was about to start busting out laughing because that's how funny it looked. I'm like, about to go, oh, people's going to think I'm crazy laughing at this movie. But that part right there, I'm like, man, come on now. I don't care how intense Bill Skarsgård was supposed to be looking during that scene. And the way they were trying to play it up like it was creepy, that was just funny to me. That was the of the frickin', that was the of this version of it to, Tim Curry's or however he says it in that movie. Can't do too much. My throat's been bothering me the past couple of days, but so I can't do too many of my voices. Probably not even the Vince McMahon one, but yeah, that's something else I liked about the movie. Another thing I liked about the movie, I felt they did better. I felt like Bill Skarsgård, even in the funniest scene in this movie, was more intense than what Tim Curry was. And, something else too. I gotta say, with the kid actors, there was a lot of, jokes and comedy in this. The kid actors were, in the original one, they always act like they were so scared and they were frightened by Pennywise. This one, they're cracking jokes, especially Richie, about, can only virgins see this thing? Because I haven't seen it anyway. He eventually gets his interaction with Pennywise, but, and scares the crap out of him. Also, the adults in this one, I felt like were more blind to, were more like, willing to turn a blind eye to things going on. Like the part where you see Ben about to be killed by Henry and his guys, and Ben, and then like two adults drive past, they look over, which they kind of mentioned that, but they only did it in the adult portion of the It TV series special in 1990. But they look over, they turn their heads, and they just drive on. Just like with the lady that saw Richie was there for a minute, and then seen he was gone, and she just didn't even say nothing, call the cops or anything. Even though the cop pretty much was trying to warn her as well at the beginning sequence. Another thing I felt they did better with this is, Billy was more in denial about Richie being dead in this movie than what he was in the original movie. In the original movie, he pretty much said, yeah, I know Georgie's dead and blah blah blah, but you know what? I'm still gonna find out what killed him and da 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 da. And he didn't get out of denial to this scene right here, when he's seen and he finally realized, yeah, my brother's gone, he's dead. You know, because his raincoat was there and the arm part was missing. He starts crying. The rest of the club, Losers Club, you know, hug him and, you know, all that. And I will say, throughout this whole time, Billy was pretty much the bravest one out of them all. So, you could make a case for Bev, because Bev really wasn't scared of Pennywise, especially with all the real life stuff she had to deal with, like, you know, her father, come to find out he's a sick, perverted, you know, molester, molesting his daughter, which, you know, very sick. Why would you freaking do that? Especially with your own daughter. But to a kid, period. That's just disgusting. Anyway, so she eventually kills her dad, and after dealing with, you know, being molested, what's a freaking clown dancing on the stage in front of her gonna do to intimidate her? Nothing. She did see the dead eyes, or the dead lights of Pennywise, which is something they did not show Henry Bowers see this time. Because in the original, Henry Bowers seen the deadlights of it, but really, you know, it caused him to go even crazier. But like I said, you can't be no crazier than what Henry was in this movie, because he was on the verge of, a lot of times I was more scared of freaking the bully killing one of the Losers Club than I was Pennywise killing them. I mean, honestly, that's a scary thing when a bully will go that far to try to kill you, just for the heck of it. That's the end where they make the pact and all that. But overall, yeah, this was a different kind of review. Usually I give a score grading at the end of a review. I'm not going to do that for this, because it's probably going to be the same as the original It movie. And really, the movie would have been a flawless, scary horror movie if it wasn't for a few things, like, you know, the comedy bitch. Yeah, I get it, you got teenage kids that say some crazy stuff, and that's one of the things that really also made me think this new It movie was gonna suck, was like, oh my god, the kids sound so annoying, but the kids weren't as annoying as they were in the trailer. Yeah, so, but yeah, it was comedy. There was I feel like a little too much comedy for this one than there was the original movie. But, you know, you have to lighten the mood when this movie was overall an intensely scary movie. And had it not been for the comedy bits and Pennywise dancing on stage in front of Beverly, I would have said, yeah, this movie was more terrifying than the original It movie. But that was not the case, because you had scenes like Pennywise the dancing clown actually dancing. So, yeah. And, you know, if there's a scene like that tonight when we see the movie, I'm definitely cracking up and laughing, because, you know, I almost cracked up and laughed at the last time when I seen this in theaters when it came out a couple years ago. So, yeah. If there's a scene like that tonight, I'm definitely making fun of the scene just like I did right here. But overall, both movies are great. Both versions of It, I think, are great. This one's a little more horrifying, a little more scary, intense, and all that. While the other one is a awesome cult classic. It had its scary moments too, but, you know, it didn't rely heavily on the kids putting out a lot of comedy when they were kids, on the kids' part, because honestly, and let me say something about the adult cast. I forgot to mention that we did have a A-list, you know, actor playing, an A-list actor playing Ben, which was John Ritter. And that was at the time when he was, I guess, still a up-and-comer coming from Three's Company. But, yeah, we had John Ritter play Ben, so I see why they built the Ben Beverly storyline up when you're having John Ritter play basically a secondary character to other actors you don't know. Like, when I seen the original It movie, I'm like, yeah, that's John Ritter. I know that guy. I don't know who the rest of these other actors are, but, you know, I knew who John Ritter was. And apparently the one guy who played Richie, I believe, adult Richie, I think he was like, I guess he was kind of a big name actor at the time, but really, I had never seen anything. The only one I recognized was John Ritter. I'm like, yeah, that's John Ritter, man, yeah. But, you know, and as you see, you have the bigger star as the kids' version, which was Jonathan Brandis. He was a bigger star than any of those kids. And then you had the bigger name as the adult version of Ben, which was John Ritter. So, yeah. This time you got James McAvoy, Bill Hader, Jessica Chastain, and you know what? If Jessica Chastain is as bad as she was in Dark Phoenix, that's going to cause this movie to really be bad. But you got James McAvoy, Bill Hader, and Jessica Chastain, which are bigger names than the names you had in the original movie. So anyway, overall, I think this movie is I like it about as the same as the original It movie. I'm not really going to score it. Next week, I'm going to get to reviewing. If I don't do 2 videos and I do 1 video, I will probably review the Pennywise figure next week, or a Friday the 13th figure, or a Nightmare on Elm Street figure. I don't know. I'll decide when the next week starts. Don't forget to catch me tonight on the Facebook Live. I'll be doing a commentary on this. It may be later than what I usually start my Facebook Lives, because I don't know how long It Chapter 2 is going to be, and we're catching the 8:30 showing, so we'll find out later tonight, and we'll see. But overall, I like both movies. Yeah, first movie has some flaws, especially with the adult part of the first movie. This movie has some flaws too, but you know, they both were still really good horror movies that I really enjoyed. I enjoyed both versions of it. Now, I will say I do like the older version better, mainly because I watched that one when I was a kid, so, you know, yeah. But that's pretty much it for this one. Let me hold on, before I finish. Now, a friend of mine, Heavy Metal Turtle, got the Toonie Terror figures, the Freddy and Jason, from NECA. And he was talking about how people get scared and run when they're Jason and he's about to kill them. But here's the thing, and I've told him time and time again, I'm like, hey, Ernie, I don't think people would get as mad at you if you had your preference on Nun or Jason and they got the chance to get revenge on killing you. He did tell me like a couple weeks ago that he did get killed once as Jason, and a group of people ganged up on him. I'm like, well, that's what happens. Now you see, when you get a whole lot of gang up on people, and then when you're Jason, they gang up on you. So he threw a challenge out to me for Friday the 13th. Now, he chickened out on me Saturday. I was playing all day Saturday. I had some people ready to help me gang up on him, and I kept spamming him invites, kept spamming him party invites. I'm like, come on, Ernie, quit being a chicken. So he's chickened out so far. Maybe eventually he will play me with my group of people I have planned to gang up on him, but he's got to switch his preference to Nun or Jason, and then we'll see. We'll have a whole gang up on him like he did us. And yeah, he didn't call me out in no, you know, mean, rude way. It was a playful, joking way like I'm doing right now. But yeah, so far, Heavy Metal Turtle has chickened out on taking me up on that challenge he said he was going to take me up on in his Toonie Terrors figure reviews. Or he was showing them off or something. So come on, Heavy Metal Turtle. Don't be a chicken. Get on Friday and put your preferences Nun or freaking Jason. And I'll get a group of people that we can gang up on you the way you gang up on everybody else when you kill them as Jason. So, come on. Well, with that being said, let me jump to some shout-outs real fast. This video went longer than I was hoping it would, but, you know. Let me jump to some shout-outs. First off, to my son, the Black Ops Killer. He does Friday the 13th, Fortnite, all kinds of different videos. My daughter, Lizzie184, I believe it is. she came back on YouTube. She's doing Fortnite, and I guess she's done some GTA. I don't know. She don't really post much as, Black Ops Killer does. Ronnie Tomlinson, he did a couple videos. Oh yeah, by the way, Ronnie, you need to start titling your videos on the topic you're talking about. But my wife's cousin, Ronnie Tomlinson, he's done a couple videos the past couple days. Let's see. Heavy Metal Turtle, even though he's being a chicken right now. Mr. Fox, who I don't think has done a video for quite a while, so yeah, hopefully he will do one soon. I think that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, I want to give a shout out to Nostalgia Critic because he reviewed Alvin and the Chipmunks, Road Chip, and he hates all the Chipmunk movies. And he was saying things about the Chipmunk movies that, I feel about the Chipmunk movies. I watched the first couple and I hated them. Like, God, these movies are stupid. Not even the way the old Alvin and Chipmunk movies were, but, that is what it is. Also, let me know your thoughts on It Chapter 1 in the comments below. Please like this video, subscribe for more. Follow me on Twitter at Mr. Hornsby83. Follow me on Facebook, Mr. Hornsby83, the Mr. Hornsby83 Show. I also got my Tri-Gen Toys business page up there. I just posted something about a week or so ago about a couple new things we got to sell. We're not going to be back to the flea markets though till early next year to sell it. So I've said a lot. And overall, I think both It movies are pretty good, but the problem is they both have flaws, and you can't say which one's the perfect version and which one's the wrong version. Now, if it was based on just being a complete horror, terrifying movie, I'd go with this one. But if it was based on, like comedy bits and, it was an intense, horrifying. Not as much as this one, but it was still intense and horrifying. But, yeah, this video's almost went 30 minutes. I do not like going this long for a review, and I apologize for it being as long as it did. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.